We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you love everything in college football, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends if you want to support this college football rebel outpost, the home for the college football sickos, with a donation to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Just hit that $sign where you make a comment and I'll get you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome on in to the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. Roll call. Rod is in the house. Skaven, yes, old dad. DT's Woody Bortner. Skaven, yes, the Florida man. Richard Jones, Duck. Azon the Kid. Rock Chalk. Jayhawk. AMAC is in the house. Bo Stacker. Whoop. I screwed up. Bo Stacker is in the house. Rock and Rant, Mr. Hurricane, the almighty old dad, Kerry Gold Knowles, George Holton, Osceola Trucka, Taytown Hawk, Free State is a rising. Jason Knows in the house. Woof Doggo is here. All right, we've got a stacked show, and I gotta tell you, I do not know how long I've got to go today. We came on a little bit early on a Wednesday. Wednesday is our most challenging day here at Peek Around the Corner to provide you to provide you the coverage of the college football landscape nationally, the coverage that you deserve. Wednesday is our most challenging day. This is about the only time we could do it today. So let's get into it. I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball. And again, you can file your protest. But I got to warn you. The person sitting at the complaint desk is yours truly, the fat guy from Minnesota. So I'm going to look at your complaint, I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to toss it into the circular file. All right? So go ahead, complain, file those complaints. I have gone 1-2, and then 4-9 against the spread. So what is that? 5-11. You Einsteins are 6-10. Yesterday, I said, today we're just going to go over the games. And then the following day, we're going to pick against the spread. No, that is not what's going to happen. Today, we are actually going to make our picks. And this week, who goes first this week? Who goes first? I think you do. I'm pretty sure you guys, you Einsteins go first. So, we are going to go through an Alabama article just quickly here. Alabama collapsing from inside. And then we're going to make our picks. And there's a couple of other news stories that I want to get to. There's a couple of other drops of information that I want to get to today. So I appreciate y'all coming on in. Jared Jones, appreciate it. All right. First of all, there is a link in the description box below the video. You can read the whole article yourself. We're not going to go through the whole article. We're just going to go through parts of it. You should read the whole article by On3. But we're not going to do that. Chris Lowe and Andy Staples, you can go through the whole article. Early in Kalen DeBoer's tenure at Alabama, the power brokers and boosters are growing concerned. Now, we just witnessed the Seminoles beat up on Alabama, but some of you are going to say, Greg, you're overreacting. Greg, you're overreacting. I don't think I am. You know, even Greg the Cold, Greg the Cooler, even I was wise enough to not have Alabama predicted to be in the playoffs. I don't have Alabama in the top 5 of the Southeastern Conference. I don't have anybody in Alabama for the Heisman watch. We've got their head coach now, number 2 on the hot seat rankings. Even Greg the Cooler could figure this out. You remember last year? I got dragged over the coals by a lot of great PATC family members who are fans of Southeastern Conference teams, and they wanted to defend Alabama last year. They thought Alabama should have won in the playoffs, and I'm like, what are we talking about? I respectfully disagreed. I think the committee got it correct. I saw that Alabama-Oklahoma game. That offense was ridiculously bad. I saw Alabama. And then that bowl game against Michigan, my goodness. Alabama had most of their players in that game. Michigan did not. And we just saw what happened against the Seminoles. There is something wrong in Alabama, and I've been saying this. First of all, they've got a lot of so-called great talent that have not produced. On defense, on offense, especially on offense. They do not have... Kalen DeBoer still doesn't have his quarterback playing. We might be seeing that later in the year. I'm not a believer in Ty Simpson. Are you a believer in Ty Simpson? Kalen DeBoer I think he's got to move faster on his guys. He's got to move new people in. Let's get to the article. We're going to talk more about Bama, and then we're going to get to our picks for week number 2. Early in Kalen DeBoer's tenure at Alabama, power brokers and boosters are growing concerned. Here is another reality. Through 14 games as the guy who replaced Saban simply hasn't been able to get Alabama to play with the consistency, edge, focus, toughness, mental or physical, that defined Bama's program during Saban's legendary career. And yes, there's genuine concern, not the embellished type, among Alabama power brokers and boosters about what they've seen, or more accurately, what they haven't seen from the Crimson Tide under DeBoer. Again, you can read the whole article. There's a link provided in the description box. We are going to go only partially into the article. Tangible proof of a championship caliber football team absolutely missing. As one longtime Alabama donor, and not just any donor, money perch, but the kind who has their portrait hanging in the donor Hall of Recognition at Bryant-Denny Stadium, money perch, told on 3, we're spoiled. Always have been. But when we put a team out there that looks uninspired, like we have far too many times these past 2 years, and lose to teams that were clearly more talented than, but are you? Are you more clearly talented than Florida State? Than the teams you played last year? Okay, maybe you're more talented, but definitely not by the margins as you enjoyed during the Nick Saban years. Those days are over because of the changes in college football, in my strongly held opinion. Put down your comments in the comment section. Let me know if I'm getting into this all wrong, but I don't think Bama is so incredibly more talented than the teams that are playing. More talented, yes, but not incredibly more talented. Not clearly, in my opinion. That's when it becomes a problem, not just a bunch of spoiled fans griping. This comes from Alabama donor. Alabama's defense has been a frequent target of fans, even though the Crimson Tide finished 10th nationally a year ago in scoring defense. The lowest total on Alabama defense since 2017. The defense hasn't really been the problem. It's been the offense, as we've been saying here at PATC. But a common theme in the losses has been not being able to stop the run. In 3 of its 5 losses under DeBoer, Alabama has given up more than 200 rushing yards. Florida State rushed for 230 yards last Saturday. And here's the most telling stat of the game, and one that galls Alabama fans the most. The Seminoles only had to throw 14 passes, completing 9, and still won by 2 touchdowns. Bama players have defended DeBoer and said they have embraced his approach. The problem is they haven't played like they've embraced it, at least not consistently. Against Florida State, Alabama looks slow at times, even hesitant, and that's difficult to explain. As someone, and again, Chris Lowe and Nanny Staples wrote this article, as someone who was at practice on Thursday before game week, it was fast-paced, physical, and filled with veteran players holding everyone accountable. It was anything but Club Med. The lingering question is he a good fit at Alabama? Kalen DeBoer, even a good fit in the SEC? You need to be able to coach Southern guys. A coach's agent, not DeBoer's, said. They want to be coached hard. Look at the way Georgia, Kirby Smart coaches. Despite the restlessness in Tuscaloosa right now and calls for DeBoer's job by some in the media, it's way too premature. Absurd, really, to write the epitaph on this coaching career at Bama. It's one game in the second season. And while some would argue that there's a pattern developing, it's still just one game. Bama is also set to return key starters. Running back Jam Miller, their RB1, and defensive tackle Tim Keenan, who can play next to LT Overton and create some havoc. From injury in time for the showdown at Georgia on September 27th. This is us and our program. And again, we understand the situation we put ourselves in and that we're in, but it's a long season, DeBoer said. Let's take care of business this week. That's been our philosophy all along, but we've really got to live it now. The Monday morning quarterbacks have set their sights on Alabama athletic director Greg Byrne as much, if not more, than they have DeBoer. But that's what happens when you're the guy who makes the call on the coach, replacing a legend, and the transition is anything but smooth. I believe here at PATC that Bama is collapsing. Let me know. Let me know if I've got it wrong. Let me know if you actually agree with that. I think Bama is collapsing. You could see the slip slide of last year. Okay. Take a look back at that Florida State game. I know it's just one game. Just one game. But take a look at Alabama's superstar, Ryan Williams. Take a look at his PFF grade. I mean, he was as bad as anybody else on the football field. As bad as anybody else. Jalen Milroe, I get it. I get it. Good guy, works hard. In some ways, he was a very good quarterback at Alabama. But last year, Jalen Milroe struggled. That Bama offense struggled last year. Struggled mightily at times. But Ty Simpson never got the call. Never got the call. And now suddenly Ty Simpson is ready to go, ready to be QB1. He's been there for 3 or 4 years. I don't see it in Ty Simpson. I've never seen it in Ty Simpson. I don't see receivers beyond Ryan Williams. I don't see a running back beyond Jam Miller. Thank goodness he can come back. I am not seeing anything, really. Is Alabama going to go 6-6? No. Are they going to go 7-5? No. Are they going to go 8-4? Very well could be. In expanded playoffs, a college football expanded playoffs, we're talking 12 teams. We're talking 12 teams. With all the metrics favoring the Crimson Tide. They did not make the playoffs last year. Now, you and I, a lot of you disagree with me. I don't think they should have made the playoffs last year. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year. And in the first year of the expanded playoffs, Bama missed it. In the second year of the expanded playoffs, if Bama misses the playoffs, this is Bama. This is Tuscaloosa. This is, it's beyond the fans being spoiled. It is an incredible fan base. A state, most of the state, not all of it, that supports Bama in ways that a lot of people across the country cannot imagine. When Bama loses, it hurts. It hurts deeply. It hurts deeply. What happened last year when they did not make the playoffs, I believe that Greg Sankey had to throw a fit nationally. He had to spread the message that the Southeastern Conference got screwed. That somehow they have to change the metrics at the committee to let an Alabama, last year's 9-3 Alabama should have made the playoffs. That was Greg Sankey's argument. He had to make it. I think it was wrong, but he had it. Why did he have to make it? because Alabama was throwing a massive fit. A powerful program, a legendary program, the program of the Southeastern Conference in the conference, the Southeastern Conference. And now they lose game one as a 2-touchdown favorites. And they got handled. Bama got handled. Georgia? You think Alabama's got to beat Georgia? They absolutely has to beat Georgia. Do you think they're going to beat Georgia? Alabama is collapsing. That is my strongly held opinion. Put down your comments in the comments section and let me know what you're thinking. Great. It was one game, one great game. I get it. A lot of you are going to disagree. I completely understand. I think it's a collapse. I think it's an absolute collapse. I said it before the season. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs. Am I guilty? Am I guilty of the same thing that I'm accusing you all of overreacting over one game? Guilty as charged. Put the handcuffs on. Lock me up. Lock me up. I am guilty. I am absolutely guilty. Thank you, Anthony Marzano. Thank you for being a member once again. Holy smokes, Cloak and Dagger, 2 months. What are your thoughts on Miami win against Notre Dame? What do you think we need to improve on? Like I said yesterday, first of all, thank you so much. Officially Cloak and Dagger once again. I told Rock and Rant yesterday, I think Miami was probably behind LSU the most impressive team in week one. LSU and Miami. And I don't think Notre Dame and Clemson were too far behind. I am not going to throw Notre Dame over the cliff. I'm not throwing Clemson over the cliff. I don't think either of those teams are collapsing. I think Bama is. Just my opinion. My opinion. I thought in Miami, I thought the defense held up. And that is a big task ahead. Going against Notre Dame, who went to the national championship game. Jeremiah Love. Now I don't agree with all the play calls of Notre Dame, but I don't want to spend time on that today. But I'm looking at Mike Shula. I got my Denbrock. Excuse me. I got my eyes on Denbrock. That was not the right game plan against Miami, but we'll get into that later. Miami, that number 10, that wide receiver, Malachi Tony. Woo! Wow. Now, we talked a little bit about him in the offseason. And when that game started, I put on the X account, we talked about a future superstar, but I think we got it wrong. I think he's a superstar right now. Something to that effect. What can Miami improve upon? Well, you beat one hell of a team, so I don't know what you can improve upon. I don't know. It was an outstanding football game. Notre Dame will be heard from again this year. And Miami is going to be a very tough out for anybody. It's going to be difficult for Miami. It's going to be difficult to beat Miami this year. Unbelievable. Kerry Gold knows, don't ever underestimate Doak Campbell Stadium. It's more intimidating for away teams than you know. Super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Kerry Gold knows. George Holton, thank you so much for being a member for 8 months. Bama has fallen off, but I think Florida State has improved far more than the credit they've got. Oh, George Holton. I think Florida State has received a lot of credit. I think Florida State has received a lot of credit. They were great. My shot at Alabama goes way beyond the Florida State game. The TP plays they got were perfect transfer portal players for their new schemes. Thank you, George Holton. Appreciate you being a member for 8 months. I think Florida State's got... This is not a shot against Florida State, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a shot against Florida State. Saban lost 6 games his first year in Tuscaloosa. He also did not inherit an Alabama program, the one in which Kalen DeBoer inherited. So let's not get that twisted. Saban did not get a Rolls Royce. He had to rebuild the car. Kalen DeBoer did not have to rebuild the car. He's got the wrong parts in the car. Got the wrong parts. I think Florida State fans are being offended because I think Alabama's collapsing and I'm not giving Florida State enough credit. I did not see that happening. I've given Florida State. Oh boy. King Spleen, what is your definition of a collapse? Great question. Great question. A collapse, in my opinion, is Alabama not making the playoffs, an expanded playoffs for 2 years in a row. The first 2 years. That was unthinkable in Tuscaloosa. Unthinkable. And I think we are far on our way from happening again. That's a collapse in which the boosters are saying, we may not have the right guy. We may not have the right guy in Alabama. That is my definition of a collapse in Alabama. You ask any Alabama fan right now, especially the boosters, is it even close to being acceptable that they do not make the playoffs for 2 years in a row? The first 2 years of expanded playoffs, that's a collapse. That is a collapse. I think Florida State was incredibly impressive, guys. I don't know what else to say. This is not, and I don't know what. Let's get to the picks. Let's get to the picks. I have not taken one. I predicted Florida State to cover. I said that Tony White would wrap them up. I don't know what else to say, guys. I don't know what else to say. Super chat, Kerry Gold Knowles. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. My money is on Bama going after one of their own, Dabo Sweeney. Wow. We'll see what happens. I think Dabo's pretty happy in Clemson. We shall see. We'll see what happens. Maybe Bama doesn't collapse. Maybe I got it all wrong. I am Greg the Cooler. Anthony Mazzano, I don't think Bama is collapsing. Breeze Frey, with Bama's decline, it's Auburn's turn to shine. Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I get it. You can still say that I'm wrong in the chat room, and I will cover it. You can still say that Greg the Cooler is freezing this morning. I will cover it, especially if you put it in a super chat. But right now, we've got to go to our picks. Our picks against the spread. And you Einsteins are going first. You Einsteins are going first. So here we go. Here we go. If you put down a super chat, I will get to it after your selections, and I will get to other comments. But we've got work to do, ladies and gentlemen. The PATC family, the Einsteins. Your record is 6-10 against the spread. 6 wins, 10 losses. It's time for you Einsteins to kick it up another level. Let's do this thing. Does Louisville cover the minus 13.5 point spread versus James Madison? I'm having a tough time already. If you vote yes, you're taking Louisville and you're giving 13.5. If you vote no, you're taking 13.5 points and James Madison. The voting begins now. D5 Terps PATC is collapsing. No question about it. No question about it. It's been collapsing since the day we started. Where's Greg the Gold music? It ain't happening, Michael. It's not happening. There is no Greg the Gold. I'm 5-11. 5-11. Terrible. Terrible. And it's really bad when you consider this is coming off 3 straight seasons of being just horrific. Horrific on a historical scale. And I start this year 5-11. It can't get any worse. We got a landslide. We got a landslide. I'm giving you 5 more seconds to vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The PATC family takes Louisville in a landslide. Louisville in a landslide. Oh boy. Here we go. Talking about landslides. Does Iowa State cover the minus 2.5 point spread versus Iowa? If you vote yes, you're taking the Cyclones and you're giving 2.5 points. If you vote no, you're taking Iowa and you want the 2.5 points. The voting begins now. Talking about landslides. Woo! I'm going to give you all 5 more seconds to vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another 73% says Iowa State. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. Boy, here we go. Buckle up. Buckle up. Buckle up. Illinois, the Fighting Illini versus the Duke Blue Devils. Boy, here we go. Does Illinois cover the minus 2.5 point spread versus Duke? If you vote yes, you're taking the Fighting Illini, but you have to give 2.5 points. If you vote no, that means you want Duke and you get 2.5 points. The voting begins now. I'm going to give you 5 more seconds to vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 67% takes Illinois. 67% takes Illinois. Virginia, North Carolina State, ACC action. They both won their first game, conference game. Here we go. Here we go. Does NC State cover the -2.5 point spread versus Virginia? If you vote yes, that means you want North Carolina State and give 2.5 points. If you vote no, that means you want Virginia and you get 2.5 points. The voting begins now. Breeze Frey says no landslide here. Although it looks like we got one. Kind of surprises me. Gonna give 5 more seconds to vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 75% says yes, taking North Carolina State. So far, the PATC Einsteins have taken Louisville, Iowa State, Illinois, and North Carolina State. Baylor, SMU. SMU, impressive victory. Baylor struggled against Jackson Arnold, running the football. Auburn, War Eagle. SMU is favored by 2.5 points. Does SMU cover the -2.5 point spread versus Baylor? If you vote yes, that means you want to take SMU and give 2.5 points. If you vote no, that means you want to take Baylor and get 2.5 points. The voting begins now. MD, I told you there was legs to the PI OSU player thing, Greg. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what, are you talking PI like in pass interference? I don't know what you're talking about, Clear it up for me in the chat room. I appreciate it. Gonna give 5 more seconds. 5 more seconds to vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 67% takes SMU. Did the PATC Einsteins fall into a trap? Did they fall into a trap on that game? Here's another possible trap game. Here is another one. Let's see what the Einsteins do with this one. Does Ole Miss cover the -10.5 point spread versus Kentucky? If you vote yes, you're taking Ole Miss and you're given 10.5 points. If you vote no, you want Kentucky and receive 10.5 votes. The voting begins now. Oh, CBS Sports article on an Ohio State player, former Michigan stealing evidence in private investigator thing. I will take a look at it. Send me something on my on a DM. Send me a link on it. Give you 5 more seconds on the voting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. PATC takes Ole Miss. 62% of the vote taking Ole Miss. Oregon, Oklahoma State at Oregon. 28.5 point spread. Does Oregon cover the minus 28.5 point spread versus Oklahoma State? If you vote yes, that means you want Oregon and you give 20.5 points. If you vote no, that means you want the Cowboys and receive 28.5 points. The voting begins now. Five more seconds on the vote. We got another landslide. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The PATC community taking Oklahoma State. And you guys have been pretty decisive on your voting. What does that mean? What does that mean? Could this be a big, big week for the PATC Einsteins? Oh boy. You knew we weren't going to skip over this game, right? Right? Does Missouri cover the 6.5 point spread versus Kansas? If you vote yes, that means you want Missouri and you're given 6.5 points. If you vote no, that means you want Kansas and receive 6.5 points. The voting begins now. MBM, Missouri covers. Holy smokes. MBM. He's dunking on his Kansas Jayhawks conference mates. Five more seconds to vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Edward the Auburn Tiger says Kansas. He's dunking on his Missouri conference mates. 68% says no. The PATC community takes Kansas in a landslide. And PATC has Jalen Daniels on their Heisman watch list. Let's take a look at that. The latest Heisman watch list. Going into week 2, Jeremiah Smith still number 1. Because I think he's the best football player in the nation. But the production has to start flowing now. Number 2, Garrett Nussmeier. That win, he's got to be number 2. He's got to be number 2. John Mateer, holy smokes, what he did in week 1. Carson Beck has got to be in the top 6. Jalen Daniels has got to be in the top 6. Now that number 6 could have been a whole lot of players. Could have been a whole lot of players. Drew Allen gets the spot right now. We'll see what happens after week 2. But 1 through 5. I think PATC has nailed it. Let me know how wrong I got it once again. Let's go back to the games. We're not done yet. We are not done yet. We're not even close to being done yet. The West Virginia Mountaineers versus the Ohio Bobcats. The Bobcats played Rutgers very tough in Rutgers. Now, West Virginia's got to go on the road and play in Athens, Ohio. What's going to happen here? Does West Virginia cover the -3.5 point spread versus Ohio? If you vote yes, you're taking West Virginia and you're giving 3.5 points. If you're voting no, that means you want Ohio Bobcats and you receive 3.5 points. The voting begins now. How is Jeremiah Smith number one when he got locked up by my secondary? Good question, Reggie. I'm going to keep him at number one right now because I think he's the best football player in the country. But I also have to say the production now has to flow. Has to flow. I still got him number one. If ESPN Football Power Index can have Texas still at number one, the fat guy from Minnesota can still have Jeremiah Smith number one. 5 more seconds on the vote. What the heck? What is this? This is the biggest landslide in history. Yes, 97%. That is the biggest landslide in history. Wait a second here. West Virginia, 97% out of 35 votes. You guys took West Virginia. Wow. Wow, there's a lot of pressure on the Mountaineers now. Wow. Wow. All right, we'll see. You're going to have to stop Navarro, the Ohio quarterback. All right. Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech. Does Virginia Tech cover -1.5 point spread versus Vanderbilt? If you vote yes, that means you want Virginia Tech and you give 1.5. If you vote no, that means you want Vanderbilt and you are receiving 1.5. The voting begins now. Again, thank you all for joining us. I do appreciate it. This is our day that we're picking the games against the spread for week 2. If you're new to the channel, if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. And share the video with your family and friends. I do appreciate you all joining us. Live show, college football, peek around the corner, PATC. The Einsteins, the PATC Einsteins are voting. They're making their selections. They are 6-10 against the spread thus far in 2025. And of course, with a 6-10 record, they've got a 1-game lead over Greg DeCula. The voting, I'm going to end the vote. It is 61% takes Virginia Tech. Holy smokes, you guys are... I tell you what, I'm going to tell you something here. Our picks are nothing close. We're going to have a lot of differences between the Einsteins and Greg DeCula. I got to tell you that. Got to tell you that right now. My goodness, you guys are way off the beaten path. Michigan State, Boston College. The game will be played at East Lansing. Does Michigan State cover the -13.5 point spread versus the Boston College Eagles? If you vote yes, that means you want to give 13.5 points and Michigan State. If you vote no, you want the Boston College and receive 13.5 points. The voting begins now. What did I say? Oh, it's 4.5. 4.5 point spread. God. Okay, we're going to end the poll. I screwed up. I don't know what's wrong with me. I do not know what is wrong with me. Other than I'm the original Minnesota moron. Does Michigan State cover the minus 4.5 point spread versus Boston College? Thank you guys for correcting me. I do apologize. If you vote yes, you want Michigan State and give 4.5. If you vote no, that means you want Boston College and you receive 4.5. The voting begins now. Get well soon, Greg. Greg trying to cheat. I thought we were buying a teaser porn here. Hang in there, Greg. Operator error. Woo! Sorry, guys. I wasn't trying to cheat. Although I need it, but no. I am the re-elected mayor of Loserville City, and it's all done, and I don't think cheating would help me, to be honest. I need divine intervention. I need complete divine intervention to turn the fat guy from Minnesota, row the boat, ship around. We are going to end the vote because it's a complete landslide. You all took Michigan State 88%. Buckle up. Buckle up. Buckle up. Woo! Here we go. Michigan at Oklahoma. Woo! Does Oklahoma cover the 5.5 point spread versus Michigan? If you're voting yes, that means you want the Sooners and you are willing to give 5.5 points. If you're voting no, that means you're taking Michigan and you are receiving 5.5 point. The voting begins now. No, Oklahoma has no offense. Ron Lowney. Reggie, Moneyline Mateer for the win. Both Stackerses take the points. Jared Jones, the Buckeye, says Oklahoma by 269 points. Only a Buckeye would say that. Holy smokes. I'm going to give you all 5 more seconds on the vote. I am shocked by this result. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. You guys are saying no. You guys are taking the Michigan Wolverines. Yeah, I'm absolutely shocked, to be honest with you. Wow. MBM, burnt vegetables, getting canned this year. Not enough film on Underwood to defend him. He is unpredictable. Jose, my neighbor's cat, called Brent a fraud. Wow. We got 2 games left. Yep, it's a big slate this week. I could not push any of these games out off the list. Does Florida cover the minus 17.5 point spread versus South Florida? If you vote yes, that means you're taking the Gators and you're willing to give 17.5 points. If you vote no, you're taking South Florida and you are receiving 17.5 points. The voting begins now. This seems like such a fast week because games, went all the way to Monday night. We're already on Wednesday. The Louisville game is already Friday. It's like week 2 is coming up fast. Okay, gonna give 5 more seconds on the vote. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a landslide. 76% want South Florida. 76% wants South Florida. The last game of the slate. Arizona State, Mississippi State. Does Arizona State cover the -6.5 point spread versus Mississippi State? If you vote yes, that means you're taking Arizona State and you're willing to give 6.5 points. If you're voting no, you're taking Mississippi State and you are receiving 6.5 points. The voting begins now. And it is a landslide in the PATC community. I tell you guys, you have not really had one real close vote. No 52-48, no 53-47. You guys have reached consensus. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 83% of you take Arizona State. Okay, here we go, guys. You guys took Louisville, Iowa State, Illinois, North Carolina State, SMU, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State, Kansas, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Michigan State, Michigan, South Florida, and Arizona State. These are my picks. I agree with you. I am taking the Louisville Cardinals. I respect the hell out of James Madison football program and this team for this year. They might rise to the top of the Sun Belt Conference. But they're not beating Louisville. They're not staying within 2 touchdowns of Louisville at Louisville. I'm taking the Cardinals. Friday night game, I agree with you. I also agree with you on this game. I think the Cyclones are going to blow the doors out the Hawkeyes. 2.5 points is a joke. Cyclones are going to beat up on the Hawkeyes. I've got Iowa State. Absolute 5-star Greg the Gold lock. Iowa State. Illinois and Duke. I've got Illinois in this one. I agree with you on the first 3 games right off the bat. Duke, I respect the hell out of the Duke team. I love the quarterback. I think Illinois is going to win. I think it's going to be a very close game. Very close game. North Carolina State and Virginia. I'm going to take Virginia in this one. This is where I start disagreeing with you all. I'm taking Virginia. I believe the arrow is slightly going up on the Cavaliers, and the arrow is going down on the Wolfpack. Very unimpressive game in week 1. Very unimpressive performance in week 1. I've got my eyes on the Wolfpack. They have not recovered since Greg the Cooler fell in love with them last off season. Baylor and SMU, I'm taking the Baylor Bears once again. Let's go! All right. You had some issues against Auburn. Auburn figured you out. Auburn, Jackson Arnold, when he saw a crease, I get it, Brandon Jennings is just as good, yada, yada, yada. I'm taking the Baylor Bears. The Baylor Bears are going to make their statement. They're going to come back. They are going to rebound. Again, I disagree with the PATC community. Ole Miss and Kentucky, I agree with you all. Ole Miss. Now, remember, Ole Miss had their problems with the Kentucky last year, right? But I don't think it's going to repeat. Kentucky, they're not going to stay within 10.5. Oregon and Oklahoma State. I don't know what you guys are smoking. I have no idea what you all are smoking. You guys took the Cowboys. I am taking the Ducks. I don't think there's going to be many teams that are going to stay within Oregon at 28.5 points in Austin. And I don't think the Cowboys are going to be one of them. I don't think my beloved Golden Gopher is probably going to be one of them. When they play them later this season, I've got Oregon. Kansas and Missouri. I've got Missouri. You guys have got Kansas. This is where your picks went pear-shaped, Einsteins. This is when your picks went pear-shaped. The Missouri Tigers are going to win, and they're going to win by a couple of touchdowns. I've got West Virginia. I cannot believe that 97% of you took West Virginia. I got the Mountaineers, but I think this is going to be a very competitive game. Very competitive game. Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech, I've got Vanderbilt. I have no idea why you all took Virginia Tech. Drones could not hit water if he fell out of an ocean against South Carolina. I don't know what happened with Drones, but if he plays anywhere close like that against Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech is going to lose at home to Vandy. Kyle Drones, I don't know what was up with that. That was horrendous. Sorry to be so blunt, but someone's got to say it. I'm taking Vanderbilt. I'm taking Vandy. Michigan State and Boston College, I'm taking Spartans. I am taking the Spartans. I think they'll win this by more than 4.5. I think Joe Rossi's got that defense humming. But this game, what are you guys talking about? The PATC family took Michigan. Bryce Underwood, he was very impressive in week 1. No question about it. But Michigan ain't staying within 5.5 with the Sooners. That ain't happening. Oklahoma's going to win. Oklahoma's going to win this game by 17 points. How do you like that, Wolverine fans? The Sooners are going to win this game by 17 points. Lock it in. Lock it in. Michigan's going to have a fine season. They are. But they don't have the tools around Bryce Underwood. They don't. Michigan's defense is going to make some plays in this game. Michigan's defense is going to make some plays in this game. John Mateer, this is not going to be another John Mateer holiday. The celebration of John Mateer. But back and forth, back at Michigan is not going to be able to keep up. I've got the Sooners. I've got Oklahoma. They break it open late this game. They break it open late this game. Florida, South Florida, I got Florida. I respect the hell out of South Florida. They played very good against Boise State. but I got the Florida Gators. Now, there's no Amazing Blue. Thank you, Greg. That means Michigan wins. We'll get to your super chat in a little bit, Amazing Blue. I appreciate your generosity. I appreciate your confidence that you think Greg the Cool is showing up once again this week. I don't think so. This is an interesting football game. Let's be honest. At the beginning of the season, I think I understand everybody taking Arizona State. Mississippi State played better than I think anybody thought they were going to play on the road against Southern Miss. Let's be honest. Mississippi State played a lot better than anybody thought. And Arizona State defense played a lot worse than anybody thought. This game to me is so intriguing. I am going to take Mississippi State. Arizona State wins this game by 3 to 4 points. 3 to 4 points. The Sun Devils are going to go away with the road victory. They're going to walk away with the road victory. But I don't think they win this game by a touchdown. I'm taking Mississippi State to cover. So my picks are Louisville, Iowa State, Illinois, Virginia, Baylor, Ole Miss, the Oregon Ducks, Missouri Tigers, West Virginia, Vanderbilt, Michigan State, Oklahoma, Florida, Mississippi State, and I got to tell you, after this week, we all know what's going to happen. Craig the Cooler is gone. Bye-bye. Craig the Gold. Let's go. Beautiful picks by yours truly. Oklahoma, lock. Florida, lock. Missouri, lock. Oregon, lock. Baylor, lock. I cannot wait. We got a lot more to get to here, guys. A lot more to get to. We've done a lot. Super chat. Amazing Blue. Thank you for the $2 holla. Mr. Wolverine. Thank you, Greg. That means Michigan wins. Well, I got to tell you, Amazing Blue. Bryce Underwood, he was really good. There was some freshman quarterbacks that played week one that Bryce Underwood I thought was absolutely fantastic. And if he's that good against Oklahoma, yeah, Michigan is always going to have a shot. I think what are we calling him? I don't know, JKS, the quarterback of California. He was phenomenal. I think my own golden goal for quarterback, Drake Lindsay, was really good. There was really some good freshman quarterback performances. Bryce Underwood was even better than I thought he was going to be. If you missed it, Bryce Underwood, He processed the field pretty good. His arm talent is unquestionable. NFL ready. He's 18 years old. He just turned 18 years old. And it looks like he's got potential when he gets a little older, like next year. He's got potential leadership qualities. I agree with you, Jared Jones. Michigan will be scary next year. Blitz, blitz, blitz. Okay, all right. We got a few more things we got to cover here. Whoa. Hold on. Okay. I screwed up here. Hold on. Got to go in the old computer. No, I didn't even do that correctly. Hold on, everybody. The production team did not do its job correctly. And of course, the production team is myself. What did I do wrong here? This does not make any sense to me. Sorry, guys, I have to do some production work during the show, which you do not want to do. But because the host is incompetent. All right, sorry about that, guys. Okay, here we go. Kawhi Leonard reportedly had a $28 million endorsement deal with an allegedly fraudulent tree planting company. The company was funded by Clippers owner Steve Ballmer, and Leonard's no-show job with them was to circumvent the salary cap. Now, there's a reason why I'm covering this, even though it's an NBA story. Mark Stein, the alleged violations in this incredibly detailed Pablo Torre report are staggering and without precedent. The Clippers told Torre any assertion of wrongdoing involving Steve Ballmer or the team is provably false. A story that has shaken the NBA already like very few. Now, why are we covering this on a college football show? Well, if the allegations are true, and the allegations, you go watch Pablo Torre go. I cannot do the interview. I cannot show the interview here. Basically, it's alleged that the Los Angeles Clippers owner Steve Ballmer set up a tree planting company, and it paid Leonard $28 million over a 4-year contract, $7 million a year. And Leonard did not do anything at all for this tree company. He did not do any advertising. He didn't do anything. He did not use his name, image, and likeness in any way for this tree company. This is what you would call a player inducement, not real NIL. 4 months, I have been saying that a CBA still does not allow false NIL deals with their professional players. And player inducements are not allowed in the NBA, not Major League Baseball, but NBA, NFL, NHL. It's not allowed. NIL deals have to be true name, image, and likeness commercial deals with professional players. So a CBA, and now I am pro CBA for college football, although it's going to be very difficult, it's going to be very complicated, and it is not going to look the same as the professional leagues. In a CBA world in college football, you're still not going to be able to have non-false NIL deals, player inducement deals. Because what happens is, like this here, you are disobeying the CBA. You are disobeying what was agreed in the collective bargaining agreement. You are avoiding the salary cap by giving a false NIL deal to one of your players to induce them into signing a contract with you. This is poison for the NBA. It is poison for the NFL. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's poison in college football. NIL deals, true name, image, and likeness deals, are fantastic for the student athletes to make money using their name, image, and likeness in a commercial, a real commercial deal. But player inducements are poison for college football. That is why in this House versus NCAA settlement, that is why they set up the Sports Commission, the Deloitte Clearinghouse. And every time I turn on X, I see the lawyers, I see the agents. The agents are paying most of the lawyers on X, allegedly. And they're saying the same thing. If only there was a CBA in college sports, we would not have to worry about all of the... No. And I have confronted, I have talked to these lawyers. You know who they are. I've had conversations with them on X. I've said, even under a CBA, you've got to follow the damn rules. You cannot have these player inducement deals. It's poison. It's poison to competition. You cannot have player inducement deals that circumvent true NIL deals and a salary cap, be it a floor or a real cap. You can't have them. They're not allowed in the professional ranks. College football is never going to have a college football draft like they do in professional leagues. That's not going to be part of the collective bargaining agreement, no matter when it happens. So player inducement deals that are not really commercially motivated, deals that are way too big for the true value of that player. They're poison for college football. They're poison for college basketball. And it is more potent in the college sports world because we don't have a draft. So, when we do get a collective bargaining agreement in college football, false NIL deals, player inducement deals are still going to be against the rules. And you know what? I don't care what governing body you create. I don't care, okay, the NCAA, toothless, okay. The College Sports Commission, you already don't like them, okay. Whatever body you create is not going to have the ability to police every booster, to police every transaction. So guess what? At some point, college football, athletic departments, and the people who support them have to follow the damn rules. Or We're always going to have this poison in the system, and it's going to hurt the sport. So, when Cody Campbell talks about saving college sports, and he's got his vision, and he's got all the rights to push his vision of a super league and everybody under the same media package and da-da-da-da-da. You know what would really help save college football, college basketball? Is for a CBA, but for the programs to follow the damn rules. In other words, no player inducements. Be totally against it. Voice it. Say it in public. All the boosters out there, and I'm not talking just Cody Campbell. I'm not saying he's done anything wrong. He hasn't, in my opinion. But all the boosters out there saying, look, NIL deals, true NIL deals, good. Player inducements, where you're just spending $5 million on a guy that nobody knows, and the commercial deal is completely fraudulent. Those deals have to go away. Just like in the NBA, the NFL, and other sport leagues. Put down your comments. Put down your comments in the comment section below the video. A lot of institutions have followed the rules. A lot of them haven't. Player inducements have existed in college football for decades, yes. Do you want them to continue? Do you want them to continue? Because if you do, then guess what? All this sport is going to turn out to be is Major League Baseball. A handful of agents with their lawyers completely controlling college football with 5 or 6 college football programs, and they're billionaires. Is that what you want? Or do you want competition, which should be the product? Do you want competition to come into play? Or do you want player inducements ruling college football? At the end of the day, if you want player inducements controlling everything in college football, okay, fine. If that's what you want, fine. But you can't say, great, if we had a CBA, all this would go away. If we had a CBA, we would not have this problem. That is completely false. So the lawyers out there, the agents who keep saying this on X, you're absolutely 100% wrong, and you know it. You're pushing garbage out there, and people are eating it up. Oh, if we just had a CBA, Greg. No. You can cheat under a CBA just as easily as you can cheat right now. So be upfront with people. Be straight with people. I'm going to say something here. A lot of agents, not a lot of them, probably all of them, allegedly, whatever. They want a Major League Baseball world in college football. They're thirsting for it. They want the top 1% players to get as massive a deals as possible because that's how the agents make their real money. Screw the 90% of the football players, basketball players, and Olympic sport players. That's the world that they want. They are hunting for it. They are pushing it. And this guy here at PATC, I'm going to keep pushing back. This is a prime example. The example. The next time a lawyer threatens to sue the College Sports Commission about, oh, my player deserves that $5 million. How dare he only make a $1.5 million on this NIL deal? The next time a lawyer says that, I'm pushing this story to him. Right out in front. It cannot happen. Player inducements can't happen. If you want a sport to keep growing And if you want the golden goose to keep laying the golden goose eggs, you can't have this. You cannot allow this to happen. Okay, I'm off my soapbox on that. Here's a report about how as U.S. sports rights surge. You look at the numbers there. NFL, look at the billions of dollars per year the NFL is making. Look at the NBA. Look at MLB. Now, MLB is way behind the NBA and the NFL. Major League Baseball has forgotten what their true product was. Baseball competition at its highest level. So Major League Baseball keeps going further and further behind the NBA and the NFL. And that's why there are people in the Major League Baseball that want a salary cap, because they've lost the product of competition. College football playoffs, WWE, the Big Ten, NASCAR, NCAA tournament, UFC, PGA Tour. I just want to show you all that. Okay. Only fool thinks payola will ever be eliminated. Only a fool thinks payola should never be eliminated. Only fools think payola should never be eliminated. They're eliminated in the NBA. They're eliminated in the NFL. They're against the rules. But we can't have them against the rules in college football. Why? Answer that question. Why? That's the problem, guys. That is the true poison of college football and college basketball. Greg, do you intend on covering how the NCAA received evidence they used against Michigan? I will once somebody sends me a direct message, sends me a link. I will cover it. I will cover it. Nobody has sent me a link on it yet. I've got no problem covering that story. But as you see, it still happens in the pros. Well, Michael, how often does it happen in the pros? And it's a scandal. This is a scandal. The NBA is taking this seriously. Just like Mark Stein reported. I don't know what, I don't really know what is so difficult. No disrespect to you, Michael, or anybody else. I don't get it. Why is cheating in college it's if this is true in the NBA, it's a horrific scandal. To circumvent the collective bargaining agreement is unbelievably bad for the NBA and for competition. If again, we've talked about it for months. We're the only ones that talk about it. No other college football YouTube channel talks about it. I don't even think they even know, to be honest. Inducements are illegal in these professional sports. The owners, the franchises, have committed to themselves to follow the rules. If the Los Angeles Clippers owner went against the rules, okay, it's because something cheating can never be stopped in college. And it can't. Really, you do not have a governing body that can control every transaction. But again, the athletic departments and the main boosters should be out there saying, we cannot allow this to happen. This is against the rules. And when a player, so you should not be bashed. Okay, so When you set up the Deloitte clearinghouse, most people have bashed it. Most people say, well, you can't do that, Greg. You can't have a sports commission, Greg. It's like you guys want the Wild Wild West to continue. And if that happened in the NBA would be destroyed. If that happened in the NFL would be destroyed. Do you know why the NFL is so popular? Do you know why the NFL is so popular? Because it's competition. Because there's a salary cap. Because they don't want in-player inducements. Why is the NFL so popular? Don't you want college football to be that popular? Don't you want college football to bring in that type of money because there's so much competition? You can't have it both ways. You can't be saying, oh, player inducements, it doesn't matter. Who cares, Greg? Everybody cheats. Okay? Then don't bitch about how college football doesn't make more money. Because you can't have it both ways. I just showed you the graph. Why the NFL is so popular. Why Major League Baseball keeps falling behind. So there it is. I just showed you. I've been talking about this for months. This is a giant scandal in the NBA. Giant. Why is it a giant scandal? Because it goes against the competition. It goes against everything that the association had agreed upon among its franchise owners. So for those, and I'm included, that wants a CBA, that wants labor to have a negotiation with the ownership, where you want the players to have an investment in this collective bargaining agreement, if you are for a CBA, well, you also got to be against player inducements. Because if we have player inducements in the world of a CBA, college football is going to get hurt, and it's going to lose value. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. The old argument, and I'm not going to say the names, but the old argument of all the lawyers and agents that you see on X every single day saying, if you only had a CBA, no, that was always a BS argument. I called them out on before, I'm going to call them out on the future. Because this story is the evidence. There it is. You cannot have these fraudulent player inducements going on. All it does is wreck the sport. And I cannot believe how many college football fans want this to continue. Player inducements. I cannot believe it, but it's true. I see it every day in my comments. Hyperboil. If you ain't cheating, you're not trying hard enough. I cannot disagree more. I think with all due respect, Drew, how many Super Bowls? Okay, then we better not have a CBA. If a CBA doesn't mean anything, if we're going to continue with player inducements, if everyone's going to cheat and everybody's still going to be proud of it and everyone's going to slap each other on the back, then the CBA is completely worthless. So the argument of a CBA is worthless. Because why would the owners ever agree to a CBA if there's still going to be player inducements? I think this whole CBA talk, I am pro CBA, but I'm starting to believe that the people who talk about this CBA the most are the ones who want to cheat the most. Sorry to say it, but it happens. I think it happens to be true. All right, guys. I don't have time to do a phone line. I got to be off the air in 3 minutes. We did our selections. Let me go through them once again. The PATC Einsteins took Louisville, Iowa State, Illinois, North Carolina State, SMU, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State, Kansas, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Michigan State, Michigan, South Florida, and Arizona State. Greg the Cooler took Louisville, Iowa State, Illinois, Virginia, Baylor, Ole Miss, Oregon, Missouri, West Virginia, Vanderbilt, Michigan State, Oklahoma, Florida, and Mississippi State. I do appreciate you all joining us. I thank you for everybody, their donations. Let me go through that real quick to help us keep the lights on here. I do appreciate it. Amazing Blue, Kerry Golden Nose, George Holton, and Anthony Mazzano. I do appreciate your donations. I'm sorry we couldn't get to your phone calls. This was an earlier than expected PATC live show. I had to do it. I am busy for the rest of the day. So I appreciate you all joining us. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much. And as always, God, family,